Hello everybody, this is Shepherd Shang here, bringing to you another episode of Abyssalcraft is Kind of Awesome. And let me officially welcome you to the Abyssal Wasteland. Ooh, the sky is green. I should note that I am using something that gives me night vision, so your looks might vary a bit when you get here. So let's get into this. The Abyssal Wasteland. So the portal to the Abyssal Wasteland looked like this. In this case, it spawned here on the surface, and it is sort of in the ground a little bit. Yeah, this is probably what's going to happen when you come through. However, I have done playthroughs with Abyssalcraft that have resulted in portals floating in the air above lakes of liquid Corralium. I'll go over what liquid Corralium is in a bit, but the fact is you really don't want to go into it if you can help it. That stupid warp effect. Seems like as good a time as any to get into it. If you're using Abyssalcraft integration and you have Thaumcraft installed, just being in the Abyssal Wasteland will cause you to gain warp. Even if you're not using any of the Thaumcraft stuff, which can get annoying. I'm going to go into more detail with this with the integration video. Yeah, it's an issue. I'll get into it. But anyway, back to this world. So, biomes. Well, the truth is, there are no biomes. This dimension is a little bit like the vanilla version of the End in that it is only one biome. It is all the Abyssal Wasteland. Yeah. You will find large lakes of this material, which is called liquid Corralium. I just mentioned it. But they are not separate biomes. It is all one biome. But yeah, so that's Shoggoth Ooze, but you notice that from the look of things pretty much look the same, and that is the truth. It is all abyssal stone. Almost the entire dimension is made of this. The only real exceptions are a couple of things. What can you do with abyssal stone? Well, you can craft it directly into abyssal stone bricks without any kind of smelting. Just 4 abyssal stone, and you get bricks. And there's so much of this stuff. And of course, they create these nice green-looking bricks, dark green bricks, which of course you can turn into slabs, stairs, and fences. Let me think. Are you able to turn into buttons? I don't believe you can. No. You can, however, turn abyssal stone into pressure plates and buttons. If I can get... There it is. They're a little bit hard to see because they blended so well. Maybe I should put that on another material. Oh well. But yeah. There are no slabs or stair versions of abyssal stone, just the bricks. But here's where we get to the some new stuff. I've mentioned before that this mod adds copper and tin in the form of abyssal copper ore and abyssal tin ore. Now, normally you can't find this stuff in the overworld, unless you've got a mod that turns one type of thing into another type of thing. Yeah. I have had that happen with this particular group of mods I'm using with this. But anyway, so there's abyssal versions of iron, gold, and diamond, as well as the niter ore added by Abyssalcraft. And there is, of course, more Corralium ore here in the Abyssal Wasteland. Now, this stuff, let's see if there's any nearby. Yes, there is. The Abyssal Corralium ore can be found anywhere in the Abyssal Wasteland. It's just sort of there. Yeah. It's much, much more common than it is in the overworld. Which is fortunate because you will need the stuff. Yeah. So smelting up this stuff gives you normal iron, normal gold, and whatnot. And this is what Abyssalcraft copper looks like. And what the Abyssalcraft tin looks like. They have relatively few uses. You can't turn them into normal tools or anything. I already went over the niter in the overworld. It's the exact same thing. But now onto the new stuff. This is a liquefied Corralium ore. Now, liquefied Corralium ore. This stuff is rare. It'll only spawn below at Y22 and below. So what does it do? Well, when you mine it, you get it as the ore itself, just like normal ores. And when you smelt it, you get a refined Corralium ingot. So rather than go through that whole process of... Oh shoot, did I put that anywhere? Give me a second. Okay, yes, I did. Okay, I did put it somewhere good. How you get the refined Corralium the harder way? Well, I say harder. It's a abyssal stone surrounded by 8 of the Corralium gem clusters of large size. Gets you the chunk of Corralium, which you smelt into 2 refined Corralium ingots. Yes. Okay. So, that method I just mentioned might actually be easier than looking for the liquefied Corralium ore, because, again, it's kind of rare. I personally have never found it in veins. I've only found it in single blocks. I don't know if that is always the case. It might just be my experience. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, even though it's... you get the refined Corralium more easily with this stuff, the more complicated process might actually be getting better for getting more of it. Yeah. Anyway, this stuff is pearlescent Corralium ore. Now this stuff is even rarer than the liquefied Corralium ore. Earl? Did I just pronounced it Earl. Oops. Ore. It is ore. It is pronounced ore. I'm having so much trouble with this word. Pearlescent Corralium ore only spawns below at Y10 and below, and it is very rare. So what do you do with it? Well, just like ore, you get ore when you mine it, and you smelt it up for Corralium pearls. So yeah, unlike this stuff, the Corralium infused stone, which you have to create, this stuff is naturally generating. Oh. Yeah, but again, it is very rare. Making this stuff might actually be more efficient to get Corralium pearls. Okay, so, you know how there's like gold blocks and iron blocks and diamond blocks? Well, there are also refined Corralium blocks. Block of refined Corralium. You've got this little indented bit here. A little bit of an odd color given what the normal refined Corralium looks like. But yeah, you just put 9 ingots in the crafting grid and you get a block. Yeah. Nothing complicated about that. It's used in a couple crafting recipes, which I will get into eventually. Possibly not this video, to try to keep it less than half an hour. But anyway, on to this stuff. This is the liquid Corralium. Yeah. So, remember how I mentioned the Corralium Plague as a status effect? Well, going into this stuff gives you the Corralium Plague. Yeah, avoid falling in this if at all possible. There are large lakes of this stuff and small lakes of the stuff. And you can use a bucket and get some. The liquid Corralium buckets. These are used in several crafting recipes as well. Now, you might be wondering why I have a bucket of liquid antimatter here. Well, let me just go into creative real quick and show you. So remember how liquid antimatter solidifies liquids? So, what do you think is going to happen when I put it in the liquefied corallium? Okay, here we go. And pick it up. And son of a... Well, now that I'm no longer blind, you'll see that the liquid corallium has turned into this substance. Corralium stone. Now, this is not the same as the refined corallium. You can't use this stuff to create refined corallium either. This stuff has its own uses, and they're over here. Now, this is the normal version. You can use it to make buttons, you can use it to make pressure plates, and you can smelt them into corallium bricks. Now, corallium bricks have a few uses, and one of them is for making the corallium brick. What? They have the same name. I've only just noticed this. That's confusing. I have never noticed that before. The corallium bricks have the same same name as the corallium brick blocks. Huh. You learn something new every day. Anyway, it looks interesting, doesn't it? It's got an interesting texture. You can make stairs out of it, and you can make fences out of it. Yeah. It has a couple other uses, which I'll get into eventually. And now I'm going to talk about the structures that spawn in the Abyssal Wasteland. And this is one of them. It's just sort of like a ruined house, I guess you'd call it. They're made of abyssal stone bricks. They've got stone brick fences around. There are holes in the roof and the walls a bit. They've got some torches, they've got the stone, and they have chests. The chests contain dungeon loot, and because I'm using a bunch of different mods, there are a few different kinds of loot in here. And you'll notice that there's also this bit of corallium stone. This is an easier way to get, well, I say easier. It's an easier but longer way to get corallium stone. There will be blocks of them in these buildings, rather than, you know, using the antimatter and risking the stupid blindness that I'm constantly getting when I do this. Ugh. But anyway, if you mine this up, oh look, a ladder, and more stone brick, and more loot. I'll get into what the crystallized stuff is in another video. That's it's important stuff, and at this point you can only find it through dungeon loot, so keep that in mind. Yeah, well, I'm not going to cut to this one because the other structures you can see show up all over the place. These towers are made of obsidian. So yeah, if you're ever in need of obsidian, go find one of these towers. And at intervals, they have blocks of glowstone in them. Now you notice that they go pretty high. Let's measure how high exactly it is. We're currently at Y63. And now I'm flying up. So let's see how high the top of this is. Ooh, clouds from nature. And there we go. We are now at Y162. So yeah, these are about 100 blocks high. Now, if you can get up to them, you'll find blocks of diamond. Each of these towers has a block of diamond at the very top. So if you have a mod that either lets you fly, or you're willing to risk nerd pulling up, it can be worth it, because, yeah, each one of these towers has a block of diamond, and these things aren't exactly rare. There is I will tell you right now that there is a threat, if you're trying to nerd pull, because there are flying mobs in the Abyssal Wasteland. Yeah, I'm gonna get into them in the mob video. And now here's something very important to you. The Abyssal Wasteland Necronomicon. I've mentioned before that the Necronomicon is a guide for Abyssalcraft. So the normal Necronomicon gives you all the information you need to get to the Abyssal Wasteland, and for the basics of the mod, but that's about it. In order to get further, you need the Abyssal Wasteland Necronomicon, which you use by putting the Necronomicon in the center of a crafting grid, and surrounding it with 8 skin of the Abyssal Wasteland. Now, how do you get the skin of the Abyssal Wasteland? Well, to make one of them, you need 8 Corralium plagued flesh, and one of these Abyssal Wasteland essence. Now, of course, you get the plague flesh by killing depth ghouls, and there are plenty of them here in the Abyssal Wasteland, so don't have to worry about searching for them. But this is a bit more difficult to get. This is also more complicated. In order to get this, you need a Staff of Rending. I've mentioned the Staff of Rending before, and this is where it starts coming into use. Now, let's open the inventory and hover over it. If those effects aren't in the way, darn it. There we go. You'll see that it says, under the Staff of Rending, it says Abyssal Wasteland Energy, 0 out of 100. Same with Dreadlands Energy, Omathal Energy, and Shadow Energy. Although Shadow Energy is 200 rather than 100. So what does that mean? Well, you create the Abyssal Wasteland Essence using the Staff of Rending. Now, this is explained in the Necronomicon, but basically, you fill the energy in the Staff of Rending by going up to mobs, and rather than attacking them with the Staff of Rending, you right-click. You'll notice that this depth ghoul just took damage, and I'm right-clicking, took damage again. Now, you notice that it now has 2 out of 100 energy. In order to gather energy, you have to go up to mobs, and right-click on them holding the staff. Yes, take damage. Take damage. If you can find the hitbox. There it goes. Yes. Go. Damage. Now, this takes a bit of time, so I'm going to speed this up a bit by cutting here until we have 99 and show you what happens. Okay, so this is one other thing I should note before I get to the 100 thing. I've been using this Staff of Rending on this Dr. Orange here, and he's down to 1 HP. So you notice that using this, right-clicking on it, makes them take damage? Well, it does. It can kill them, they drop experience, and they drop their loot, just like you would using killing them through any other normal method. So yeah, that's helpful. Okay, so you notice that it now has 99 out of 100 energy. So, yeah, there's that flying mob I mentioned. Yeah, I'm in creative, and he's still coming for me. Keep that in mind. So, 99 out of 100 energy, and it just killed it, didn't it? Yes, it did. Darn it. Okay. Different one. There we go. 100. Now, you'll notice that it had 99, and now it has 0. So rather than registering 100 energy, it instead creates the essence. Okay, so what you noticed with me clicking around just then was sometimes when you use the Staff of Rending, rather than appearing the way it normally ought to, it will be in either your inventory or in your inventory bar, I guess. What's the official term for that? I'm not sure. It will be there, but it'll be invisible until you click on it. I think that's more of a graphical glitch. I've had a few happen with some other mobs too, so don't worry about it too much. It'll be there, even if you don't always see it. Darn Thaumcraft effects. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it for this episode. I would go into crafting recipes, but almost every crafting recipe that you can use in the Abyssal Wasteland is something for a tool or armor or a weapon. and in one case machinery, there isn't really as much utility sort of items. Most of that stuff got covered in the overworld. Yeah. The overworld was basically the basics of Abyssalcraft. Everything in each wasteland is basically an advancement on those basics. So yeah, I believe that's everything for this section. Join me next on the next episode of Abyssalcraft is Kind of Awesome for a look into tools and weapons and armor. Yay! Okay, bye now. Bloopers! This is pearlescent Corralium ore. So what does this stuff do? Well, remember Corralium pearls? These drop Corralium pearls. Yeah. Crap, I got that wrong. You smelt it for Corralium. Damn it.